Okay, cool. So this is how the lighting works. Whoa. Oh, testing. Okay, cool. So the kids are pretending to be asleep. I'm sitting out here on my back patio, just relaxing a little bit, gathering my thoughts from the day. Um, recommend everybody should take this time. Everybody should take. Who recommended it? 20 minutes. It came out of a movie. Got a lot of things from movies. Every once in a while, movies have great ideas in them. Some real good things to follow. One movie, someone hopefully one day will remind me. Just take 20 minutes, maybe all at once, maybe collectively, just 20 minutes out of the entire day to just in whatever fashion you decide. Could be sitting on the patio looking at stars, the moon. Could be a glass of wine, a cigar, whatever else you got going on. Should take some time for self care. One of the things that kind of you know, snowballed my way down to craziness. Jesus. Okay, I'm not that fat. Holy crap, the camera's terrible. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, one of the things that kind of just snowballed my way into Lunaville was just not taking the time to just think about nothing or think about myself. Think about how I want to process things, how maybe some decisions that I've made today affected things, or, think about upcoming decisions I may or may not have to make. Think about, I don't know, think about interactions with my kids. Parenting is weird. It's a weird thing. I mean, I've only been a dad for, he's about to be four. He'll be four next week. He'll be four next week. Um, it's so weird to just get a glimpse of your kid and just just that clone of yourself for a brief second. Kind of just stuns you in your tracks. And what I'm noticing a lot, at least out of my generation, is that we're all definitely young enough to remember what our childhoods were like, almost entirely, for better or for worse. A lot of I really need to get a haircut. I don't know. A lot of what I think about to do, or a lot of what I think about in my parenting is just, you know, don't do what my parents. No, we don't do what my parents did. I was about to say, not that they were fuck ups, but of course, they made mistakes. They definitely did things that affected me negatively and my sister negatively. Things that don't work in today's society, and things that would with some fine tuning. Um, just regular old discipline. Do you yell at them? Do you discuss it? Do you put them in timeout? Do you spank them? I mean, is it a mix of both? Is it none of them? Is it all of them? I mean, you know, I remember my. Really, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna get my wife to put some makeup on me. That's fucking distracting. How many of you out there remember your first memory? Do you remember? Do you remember a moment in your life where the lights just came on? I do. It was it was weird. I remember just glimpses of a birthday party here and there, being passed in between adults, and then bam, I'm three. That's how I remember the earliest parts of my life. Just one day I was 3 years old. One day I was 3 years old and I was crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. Just asking my mother where I came from because I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember the day before. I couldn't remember anything else. I was just, again, I wake up and I'm 3 years old, and I was asking her, where I came from. I don't know why. It's just a freaking bizarre memory, and I mean, ever since my oldest was born, I've always been waiting for that moment to just, when do the lights turn on in a child? When does that line cross from automated, just kind of running on instinct to just to making memories, having that personality, having that just humanity just turn on. When does a child's human experience begin? And it's so I dropped the freaking camera. And this is actually helping me keep calm. Um, the It's getting a little bit easier with the anxiety. I'm making these. It was, like I said, the first one was the hardest one. Alex, my son, his lights turned on a long time ago, and I missed it completely. One day he just started talking in complete sentences. One day he just started, you know, turning on stuff on his own and making, his morning choices, how he wants his routine to go. One day he decided to body train himself. So the day his experience started, and the day his memories and all his recordings and all that started. So everything I do from here on out will stick with him consciously and subconsciously. It's so, you know, what kind of memories of my old what kind of impression am I already making on my child? What does he already think of me? Now he's full of love. He's friendly and adorable, and if the internet wasn't such a horrible place, I'd put him on camera. But the internet, well, I say that, but I want to put it. I do want to make a Twitch channel with him and I playing games. So, if that works out, he'll be on. He'll be on this. But he's he's already a little person. He's already he's already being affected and influenced by everything that he sees. He's already that. I can tell exactly. Not always exactly, but I can tell that he's just getting morals. He's developing right and wrong. He's, you know, deciding what his influences are. He's he's in and out of all sorts of things. Also, I kind of want to avoid talking about screens and things, but I mean, it's 2021. You know, tablets and stuff was taboo a few years ago, but you know, it's just the way things are. My son solves lots of puzzles. He has his tablet. He has a Switch. He knows how to navigate the television. He knows how to he has his favorites. He has his favorite music. He has favorite shows. He has memories. He's a hell of a lot smarter than I was at 3 years old. Ridiculously smarter than I was at 3 years old. Jesus. I remember I was like 5 or 6. No, 5. How am I saying 6? I was 5 years old. I was in kindergarten, and I was in kindergarten, 5 years old, and I was still having trouble spelling my name. And my son can, I mean, if his pen, I mean, he's still a 3-year-old with 3-year-old penmanship and motor skills, but he can spell his name. He knows what his full name is. He knows what our full names are. He knows. It's just, and of course, my mind has to wander and just all these great and horrible people throughout history started off the same. I mean, Hitler shit his pants. He had diaper rash. You know, probably had an ear infection or two. Had pink eye. You know, somebody had to change Gandhi's diapers. Somebody taught Gordon Ramsay how to use a spoon. You know, all these all these influence and experience just begin so damn early, especially now. I mean, his sister's right behind him. She doesn't say she has a few words, but she knows exactly how to tell us what she wants, where she wants it, when she wants it. She knows how to communicate anything she needs. And that's just the way things are now. And there's just a lot of things to consider just on that alone, just on being a parent. Just you know, when I don't know, when do you ever when do you ever feel like you really did right? You know, do you take man? And you know what sucks is that they grow up. They grow up, and the rest of the world takes a hold of them. It sucks. Probably one of the things I worry about the most. I always think about my cousin. He, I hope he's, I hope I'll see him soon. I have a lot to apologize for, and I hope that he's in better circumstances. But he's my kind of shining example of nature versus nurture. His parents raised him a certain way. He was looking pretty promising, like a pretty promising kid. Smart, sports. He was great at sports. He was in all the major sports, and the older he got, the more bad influences entered his life, and just day by day, week by week, month by month, he just year by year. I mean, it's not my story to tell. Maybe one day I'll get that one. But it is another thing to keep in mind. There's always the world out there as well. You know, I'm a firm believer that it doesn't take much. It wouldn't take much to right the world, to get people acting a little bit better. And really, I'm just. Yeah, yeah, ran out of that train of thought. Man, you start running down this area, and then your mind just scatters. Good old ADHD. And the youngest is crying in the background. My wife helping him out. He's gassy. Poor kid. One of the things that has stuck with me. Well, I'll leave. Let's leave this on a high note. Let's just leave this on a yeah. Leave this here. One of the biggest life lessons. One of the lessons that I try to carry with me, and one of the ones that I'm hoping to live up to, is a life lesson I got off of Boy Meets World. There's this episode where Corey and Alan are getting into this big argument, and Corey's yelling at him. Just I don't want this mediocre life. I don't want this mediocre this, mediocre that. I want better than you. And they have this big blowout, and they go to their corners, and the episode continues, and they wrap up, and Alan's like, it's a parent's job to want better for their children, to want them to do better than they did, and I hope and I hope that I hope that I'm doing it, but but it's one of the biggest lessons that I've ever this is one of the earliest parenting lessons that I've ever taken to heart, and one that was from an old friendly trusted source. I don't know how to put it. Some one from just somewhere and wouldn't expect. I don't know. It was a nice quote. I love that moment. I'm I've reached my my limit on this. All right. Good night. Bye bye.